Did you know that only about 30% of lion cubs survive to adulthood in the wild? This staggering statistic highlights the harsh realities of life in the savannah, where threats from predators, competition for food, and even starvation due to environmental factors take their toll on these adorable yet vulnerable young lions. Understanding these survival challenges is crucial for conservation efforts and the ongoing work to protect these magnificent creatures in their natural habitat. Join me as I take on the challenge of following a lone lion cub in Tanzania and see how it fights for survival in the wild. Under the sweltering heat of Tanzania's Ruaha National Park, Ranger Marcus, a seasoned protector of the wild, navigated the rugged terrain in his patrol jeep. His radio crackled to life. A lone lion cub had been spotted near the southern basin, no mother in sight. Marcus's grip on the wheel tightened. A cub alone in the wild was a death sentence. Hyenas, leopards, even other lions would not hesitate to take advantage of its weakness. With a quick turn, he sped toward the coordinates, dust rising behind him. After what felt like an eternity, Marcus spotted a frail figure huddled beneath a dried-out tree trunk. His heart clenched. The tiny cub, no more than a few weeks old, was trembling, its golden fur dull and matted with dust. Its wide eyes darted around in terror, and then a sinister sound reached Marcus's ears, a low, cackling laugh. Hyenas. They had caught the cub's scent, slinking through the tall grass, their hungry eyes fixed on their helpless prey. Marcus's pulse surged. He was running out of time. Marcus's hands tightened around the wheel as he sped toward the lone cub, kicking up a cloud of dust in his wake. The sun had begun its slow descent, casting long shadows across the golden grass. He knew time was slipping away. A cub without its mother was an open invitation to death, and the predators of Ruaha would not waste an opportunity. As he approached the dry riverbed, movement in the underbrush made his heart race. There it was, a tiny, trembling cub, its body barely strong enough to hold itself upright. But before relief could set in, Marcus noticed something else. Dark silhouettes weaving through the grass. Hyenas. Their eerie, bone-chilling cackles grew louder, eyes glowing with hunger as they closed in. Without a second thought, Marcus slammed his foot on the gas, roaring toward the scene. The jeep's horn blared like a war cry, scattering the scavengers into retreat. He jumped out, rifle in hand, and swept the area. For now, the cub was safe, but the battle for its survival had only just begun. With the cub safely wrapped in a blanket, Marcus knew his work was far from over. Without its mother, the tiny lion had little chance of survival. The cub let out a weak whimper, its wide golden eyes scanning the unfamiliar surroundings, searching for the one it depended on most. Marcus gently stroked its trembling head before stepping back into the jeep. There was no time to waste. The sun was sinking behind the distant acacia trees, painting the sky in hues of orange and crimson. Then, a sound pierced the silence, a deep, guttural roar rolling through the savannah. Marcus's pulse quickened. It was a mother's call, desperate and raw, carrying across the wilderness in search of her lost cub. The cub's ears perked up, and for the first time, a flicker of hope lit up its tired eyes. Marcus pressed forward, following the haunting echoes of the lioness's call into the thickening twilight. With every turn, he felt the weight of the wild pressing in. Tonight would be a race against the darkness and against the dangers lurking within it. The deep roar of the lioness sent shivers down Marcus's spine. It was close. Somewhere in the vast wilderness, a mother was desperately searching for her lost cub. He pulled the jeep to a halt, heart pounding, and gently placed the cub on the ground. The tiny creature hesitated, its frail body trembling. Then, as if recognizing the voice that had nurtured it since birth, the cub let out a weak, longing cry. The response was immediate. A rustling in the tall grass, the snapping of twigs, and then movement. From the shadows, a magnificent lioness emerged, her golden coat glistening under the moonlight. Her eyes locked onto Marcus for just a split second, a gaze filled with raw desperation, fear, and unrelenting love. Then she charged. Marcus stood frozen, knowing he had mere moments before the beast reached him. But just as she neared, the lioness skidded to a stop, nostrils flaring, sniffing the air. The cub stumbled forward, letting out another cry. And in that moment, everything changed. The lioness lowered her head, nuzzling her baby. The reunion was nothing short of miraculous. As the lioness nuzzled her cub, a deep, rumbling purr vibrated through her chest, a sound of relief, of overwhelming love. Marcus stood motionless, his breath caught in his throat. He had seen the raw brutality of nature, but this? This was something else entirely. The cub, though weak, responded to its mother's warmth, letting out tiny broken whimpers as it pressed into her golden fur. Marcus took a cautious step back, careful not to disturb the fragile moment. But just as he turned toward his jeep, something extraordinary happened. The lioness, still clutching her cub, lifted her head and looked directly at him. Her piercing amber eyes, once wild with desperation, now softened with something indescribable, an unspoken understanding. Then she did the impossible. She let out a soft, chuffing sound, the greeting of trust among lions. Marcus's pulse raced. Was she thanking him? The moment defied all logic, a silent bridge between man and beast. It was a rare glimpse into the soul of the wild, a moment of gratitude that would stay with him forever. As Marcus stood frozen in awe, the lioness lingered a moment longer, her golden eyes locked onto his. A silent understanding passed between them, a bond forged in the heart of the wild. Then, with her cub safely nestled against her, she turned and disappeared into the tall grass, vanishing into the moonlit savannah. But the story was far from over. Unbeknownst to Marcus, the entire encounter had been captured on his Jeep's dash camera. When he returned to the ranger station and reviewed the footage, his hands trembled. This was no ordinary rescue. It was a moment that defied the very instincts of the wild. When the video was shared online, it spread like wildfire. People around the world were captivated by the raw beauty of nature and the unspoken trust between predator and protector. The lioness's chuff, a sound of gratitude, became a symbol of the deep, hidden connections between humans and wildlife. And for Marcus, it was a moment that would shape him forever, a reminder that even in the most untamed places, compassion could bridge worlds. Weeks passed, but Marcus could not forget the lioness and her cub. Each day, as he patrolled the Ruaha savannah, his eyes instinctively scanned the golden grasslands, hoping for a glimpse of the pair he had helped reunite. Then, one morning, as he neared a familiar watering hole, his breath caught in his throat. There they were. The cub, once frail and weak, was now strong, playfully pouncing at its mother's swishing tail. The lioness, regal and powerful, lifted her head and locked eyes with Marcus. No fear, no aggression, only recognition. The moment stretched, the vast wilderness falling silent around them. Then, she did something extraordinary. Slowly, deliberately, she blinked, a universal sign of trust among animals. Marcus exhaled, his heart swelling with emotion. She remembered him. She trusted him. As she turned and led her cub back into the wild, Marcus knew their paths would cross again. In that moment, he understood. True conservation wasn't just about protection, but about connection, respect, and the unspoken bond between man and beast. In the vast, untamed wilderness, survival is a daily battle, yet even in nature's harshest moments, we find profound connections. The story of the lioness and her cub reminds us that compassion transcends species, and trust is built through actions, not words. Just like Marcus, we must protect, respect, and cherish the world around us, because every act of kindness creates ripples beyond what we can see. If you enjoyed this incredible story, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more amazing wildlife tales. Together, let's spread awareness and appreciation for the beauty of the wild.